Hi everybody. This week I wanted to go over and compare the difference between the Renaissance versus the Baroque art movement. Both of these two periods shaped Western art in very different ways. While both of them explored themes of beauty, the divine, and human experience, they did so with completely different art styles and intentions. I'm going to walk through the major differences between these movements using specific examples of paintings and sculptures. I'll examine how artists express their worldviews through technique, subject matter, and symbolism, and how even the same subject could look radically different in each period. The Renaissance emerged in Italy in the 14th century, and it continued all the way throughout the 16th. It remarked a rebirth of classical ideals, drawing heavily from ancient Greek and Roman art and philosophy. Renaissance artists placed a strong emphasis on symmetry, order, and proportion, using tools like linear perspective to create realistic space and depth. They also explored human anatomy and emotion, but it was always really controlled and in a kind of idealized way. This period was driven by humanism, the belief in the value and potential of human beings. In a lot of ways, it can be viewed as a celebration of logic, learning, and balance, and it's somewhat like intellectual. It appeals to the mind as much as it appeals to your eyes. To contrast, the Baroque period started in the late 1500s, and it focused on emotion, movement, and drama. It was deeply influenced by the Catholic Counter-Reformation, which wanted art to inspire faith and devotion. Baroque artists aim to involve their viewer emotionally. They use dramatic lighting and powerful gestures to make scenes feel real and immediate. Unlike the balanced calm of the Renaissance art, Baroque works are often dynamic and theatrical. Overall, Baroque art just feels more visceral. It pulls you into the story and it makes you feel something intense and often a sense of spirituality. Now we're going to look at a direct comparison between two paintings. Here we've got Botticelli's Birth of Venus on the left. It was created during the Renaissance, and it depicts the goddess Venus rising from the sea. The scene's really graceful, poetic, and idealized. The figures are light, almost floating, and the mood is calm and harmonious. Even though anatomy isn't perfectly realistic, the focus is on beauty and on symbolism. Next to it, we have Caravaggio's Entombment of Christ, a Baroque painting that shows the moment Jesus is lowered into the tomb. These figures are heavy, grounded in reality, and full of grief. The dramatic lighting and diagonal composition guides the eye and creates a sense of weight and sorrow. While Botticelli's work invites quiet admiration, Caravaggio's demands an emotional response. The two artists show how different the goals of each period were, one aiming for timeless beauty and the other one for emotional truth. Next, I wanted to compare two sculptures that were actually based off of the same subject. On the left, we've got Michelangelo's David and David is from the biblical story of David and Goliath. Michelangelo's David was sculpted in the early 1500s, and it shows a calm and confident young man before the battle. He seems somewhat relaxed, his expression's thoughtful, and the focus is on ideal human anatomy and psychological strength, which is a common theme when it comes to the Renaissance. And on the right, we've got Bernini's David. This was created about 120-ish years later, and it captures the exact moment that David is slinking the stone. His body twists with motion, his face is intense, and the sculpture feels like it's really realistic, like it might come alive. The difference reflects the Baroque's focus on movement, energy, and emotion. Where Michelangelo's David is frozen in a moment of thought, Bernini's is caught in action. The change in style shows how artistic priorities evolved from stillness and perfection to dynamism and expression. To wrap up, both of these movements represent rich, powerful approaches to creativity. Renaissance art values harmony, proportion, and intellectual beauty. It's calm, rational, and inspired by classical ideals. Whereas Baroque art is bold, emotional, and dramatic, and it speaks more to the senses and the heart than to the mind. Through comparing these artworks, we see how artists reflect the spirit of their times. Both movements continue to influence art today, and understanding them helps us see how culture and emotion shape what we create. Thanks for watching, and these are my resources.